Yeah, we'll get there sooner or later. Hang on just a second. And where am I? I am right here, but I am not Jason. So let me change the title and this. Sorry about 908. I was downloading a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to get into this morning. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by as you always do. It is the Sunday mashup, basically. It is a lot of leagues, a lot of stuff. We got a lot of sound. We got highlights from a bunch of different places. So here is the show this morning. Once again, like I said, I apologize for 908 because I was downloading one last thing that I forgot to download. And honestly, it should have been two, but I had to kind of call it. So here is here's the rundown for today. We'll start, obviously, with the Final Four, now that we know it, in the cup that the world is chasing. And we've got that for you. We've got highlights and posts from both matches. Our buddy Nino Torres texted me or WhatsApped me or whatever the kids do. And he said, you know, I got to come on. It's like, okay, you're at 10 o'clock, unless you want to come on earlier. And he's like, okay, 10 o'clock it is. And so he's coming in on an off day for both Nino the Baker and FuboTV's Nino Torres. So he's going to join us in the hydration break at 10 o'clock. So we'll go over what happened early. Then we'll bring Nino in to discuss. And that'll be the coverage of the World Cup. Then we've got a bunch of different leagues, and I mean that. We've got a bunch of different leagues that had action yesterday. We have the twos and Inter Miami CF2. They were up at the Turner Soccer Complex in Athens last night. I was on the call for that with us for the SDH network. We've got highlights there, and we have posts from a bunch of different places. That's why it's going to be in hour number 2, because that's a lot to get into on a bunch of different fronts. So you will hear the action from last night, and you will also hear from Arif Kovac, Enzo Dovolo, Ignacio Suarez-Corey, and Atlanta United 2 head coach Jose Silva. It was a big win for the twos. They needed it, and they are still rolling in MLS NEXT Pro in the Eastern Conference. And so we will let you know what happened last night with Atlanta United 2 and Inter Miami CF2. Big win. They continue to climb the table, and they've got a lot of matches at home here in the tail end of the season, considering that they had 7 of 8 on the road early on when they were trying to get their schedule all oriented. So hour number 2 will be Nino and the Twos, which sounds like a group from the 80s. But anyway, Nino and the Twos will be in hour number 2. So after the World Cup in hour number 1, we've got to get into WPSL. They are in the regional, they're in the regional conference final stage. They're in the final 8. And it was, and I don't know if, and I guess this technically, the rundown is technically opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee is part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, rich world-class finish. It is opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Maddie was at Woodstock High School in the northwest suburbs of Atlanta all day yesterday. And I mean all day, because it was 2 matches in the WPSL that were supposed to go down roughly at 1:15 and 4, I think. The first match took up 5.5 hours on the clock because of a handful, and I mean literally a handful of rain delays. So Maddie was there basically until 10 o'clock for the 2 matches that were there to determine who's playing this afternoon at 4 o'clock to determine who's heading to Kansas City for the Final Four in the WPSL for 2026. So we'll have highlights of the tail end of the 5.5-hour marathon that was match number 1, and we'll have highlights of match number 2, which went to PKs. So we'll get you into the WPSL here in hour number 1. Yesterday, we had Maxi Vieira, the head coach at Asheville City SC, as they were in Burlington, Vermont, getting ready to take on Vermont Green in the USLW Final Four. And we have the highlights of the end of that match. And Vermont Green gets the Duke, and so Vermont Green gets to travel to Salmon Bay. And Salmon Bay was another reason why we were up late last night, was because the Western Final with Minnesota Aurora and Salmon Bay went to PKs. And it really went to PKs. So that game started at 10:30, probably ended about 1 Eastern time. So we'll have the tail end of that match. We'll let you know what happened with Vermont Green and Asheville City. Those two are going to be playing at Interbay next week in front of a crowd of, at the very least, 1567. I think the most important person in the final for the USLW title here in 26 will be the fire marshal. So we'll have your highlights there of that one. And then we will get into what happened in the Prinks Cup last night, where we had a couple of shootouts. And it went to one in particular where you had to have a keeper slam the door in frame number 5. And so we'll have that for you. So it's Prinks Cup. It is WPSL. It is NPSL. It is UPSL. It is NWSL. It is USLW and the World Cup. That is the mashup in hour number 1. Like I said, hour number 2 is going to be Nino Torres kind of putting a bow on everything when it comes to the World Cup itself. We've got the Final Four. We know who's going to be in Dallas on Tuesday, and we know who's going to be in Atlanta on Wednesday. And I'm going to say this right now for anyone here in our footprint, make sure that you are ready. If you're downtown, and I'm serious, make sure that you're ready for long nights, fun days. It is going to be a 3-day extravaganza when Argentina and England make it here for the second semifinal to determine who's heading to the Meadowlands and who is heading to Miami for the third place game. Third place game is in 6 days' time, and the championship game is a week from today. And we will have a lot to get through to get to that. Obviously, we've got to prepare what's going on Tuesday, prepare what's going on Wednesday, get you out of that, move you forward, and just be ready for an incredible amount of excitement and energy in both cities for the semifinals in the cup that the world is chasing after. So that is the rundown for today. It is the mashup in hour number 1, hydration break. Nino comes in to put a bow on the early part of hour number 1, and then hour number 2, we go with Nino, and then we go with the 2s, and then you're on your way to catch your breath maybe. And then we'll get that squared away. Then we'll be back here Monday morning 9:05 to break down everything and let you know what we might have missed. Just get your nap in today. That's all I'm saying. Get your naps in today, and if you can take some time off of work, sniff, sniff, cough, cough, you might do that. But now we know the Final Four. We know the Final Four, and it is getting closer and closer. And, man, I swear we just started this thing the other day. But we're down to the Final Four and the final week of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We do have some news that is attached to it, and it comes from Gianni Infantino himself. And so we will catch up with that news as well. So that's the morning, and it's going to be busy morning and a lot of stuff going around from a lot of different places. So let's see, that Cotton Bowl and SMU. So they're both squared away there. So literally, I'm getting emails and notifications now about press opportunities in Dallas. So that's where the World Cup is. All right, so that's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. Basically, your rundown is opening kickoff. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend, made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. All right. Dayside yesterday in the World Cup, and there was a lot to get into. So it was at the Hard Rock, 120 minutes in the first one. And so starting off your marquee semifinal Saturday, it was England and Norway. England wins in extra time 2-1. The feels-like temperature, your heat indices were up at 99 degrees. So in Celsius, that's what? 32, 33? No, a little more than that. Double and add 30. So 33 is 66. And it might be somewhere between 36 and 37 degrees Celsius. 99-degree feel-good temperature at the Hard Rock while it was pouring here. And then you had Jude Bellingham scoring not once but twice. And so going through all of the subplot, the first goal is scored after it looks like it hits a guy wire on Spider Cam. And that raised a lot of eyebrows. Burroughs, Sheldon, and Scott at The Athletic, slightly angry. And so you have the equalizing goal. Norway had a 1-0 lead, almost had it 2. Then it turns out that goal's knocked off the board because of a foul in the buildup, which, if you ask Jason, you probably listen on Atlanta Soccer Tonight. So it was 2 things that I forgot to upload. That probably, calling the foul might have been a bit of a stretch. So then you end up with an equalizer, and the footage from Big FOX has Orion Nyland's goal kick looking like it's going to hit. It hits the camera that is suspended on the wires that are above the field. And the way that it works, it's basically 4 wires, and the guy or the individual that operates the Spider Cam is a true artist, because literally you have 4 wires that are you have 2 wires that are crossed, and you basically have the idea of, okay, so I've got to move it this way, so that means I've got to slide like this. And so literally you're trying to coordinate 2 wires at the same time, and and coordinate and be high enough to where you can get your all 22 and spin around quickly and all that kind of stuff. But the folks that run Spider Cams are true artists, because they understand X, Y, and Z axes, and they understand, okay, here's what it's going to look like to go from one to the other and pull down and so forth. So FOX's footage, Nyland's goal kick appears to hit the camera. And so then what that does is it interrupts the path of the ball from its true arc, causes it to drop down quicker, and then it falls to Elliot Anderson, Gordon, Bellingham 1-1. And that was in first half stoppage time. Stala Solbakken less than pleased about it. And he was letting referee Clement Turpin know about it at the halftime interval, and he pointed up toward the camera in protest. So did Erling Haaland. Kent Bergerson told TV2, which was your broadcast rights holder in Norway, quote, just before the goal, the ball hits the cable with the camera on it, causing it to change direction, fall shorter than it should have. The referee should have spotted that. There's nothing we can do about it now. We'll just have to grit our teeth and get on with it. And so Big FOX has that video. FIFA official tells The Athletic, ball chip technology used in every game of the tournament in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico did not indicate the ball touched anything in midair. According to their data, there was no peak on the sensor. No peak on the sensor. So treating it like it was when we saw the match with Portugal and Croatia, I believe, where we had the hair working its way, and then it shows on the sensor that there was contact. But the sensor inside the ball basically said that nothing happened. And so that was what they were operating with. And so that's how the officiating crew was going. There was nothing that went off from a sensor, and that was where it all registered. So had the sensor, from the eyes of the officiating crew, had the sensor gone off, then they would have said, okay, there was contact, and then it falls down, and then you would have gone dead ball situation and probably dropped it from the point where it did fall down, and then it would have gone the other way. And you probably would have burned out the clock in the first 45. So that was where we were lined up with that. And so FIFA later reiterated this on social media. They go to FIFA Media. You go to @FIFA Media on the Twitters. And they go on. FIFA sources with knowledge of the situation said that there are 16 antennae tracking the signal at Hard Rock, mounted under the roof, and were active as the ball traveled through the air, adding that footage from spy cam of the goal was broadcast and does not shake while showing that footage, indicating that it wasn't struck. Solbakken, when he was asked about it after the match, said, well, he, meaning Clement Turpin, the ref, said he didn't see it himself, and that he didn't get any message that it actually happened, and that's a good explanation. And since FIFA says there was no touch, no signal from the chip on the ball, then he can't do anything about it, but the ball fell straight down just in front of the bench, so it did touch it. I was not one of them, but an assistant coach saw it. Solbakken continued. There's been nothing in the chip. What can I say against that? But the ball drops down straight from heaven. I was looking another way, so I wondered what happened. So pretty clear that it hit it. It was a strange thing. So Sheldon scores to give Norway the lead in the 36th. Bellingham equalizes at 1-1. That gets you through 90. And so you go from 90 there. Norway saw a goal ruled out for a Holland push, as I believe Elliot Anderson was already starting to fall down at the time of contact. And so Bellingham then scores the winner, 3rd minute of extra time. And the rules, once again, from our friends at The Athletic. Here's what our friends at FIFA have of the rule book as it is expressed. I have not had any caffeine yet. Outside interference section of IFAB laws indicate that, quote, if an other object, in quotation marks, enters the field of play during the match, the referee must, A, stop play, restart, drop ball only if it interferes with play. Section 2, unless the ball is going into the goal and the interference does not prevent a defending player playing the ball, the goal is awarded. If the ball enters the goal, even if contact was made with the ball, unless the interference was made by the attacking team. Allow play to continue, Section 3, if it does not interfere with the play and have it. In this case, if Turpin observed the ball hitting the cable, should have stopped the play when the ball hit the other object, meaning the sky cam, and restarted the game with a drop ball. And so VAR is able to intervene if there is a clear and obvious evidence that one of the teams suffered an obvious disadvantage. VAR Jerome Brizard clearly did not feel the incident constituted a clear and obvious error and did not intervene. Adidas manufactures the balls used in the World Cup, and since Qatar of 22, a 500 hertz inertial measurement unit motion sensor has been embedded to track data and enhance the VAR system. Connected ball technology, as Adidas calls it, is combined with player position data and through AI offers real-time info, streamlining semi-automated offside. 500 times a second, the sensor helps make up the precise moment the ball was touched clear. So that was the moment that was at the end of the first half that got us to that got us even and carried on until this moment late in the second half to give England the win and get them into the Final Four. Here's the highlights courtesy of our friends at Telemundo Deportes.
El toque hacia atrás para Eze. Morgan Rogers le pegó. El arquero que la suelta. La soltó el arquero Nyland y Jude Bellingham marca el 2-1.
Justo venía a ser una gran intervención Nyland ante aquel cabezazo de Kane y no logró despejar Noruega. Esa pelota quedó en posesiones de Inglaterra para que Rogers con libertad en la frontal del área saque un remate potentísimo y complicado. Ese lo encuentra el de Aston Villa y fíjate la libertad con la que logra rematar, pero la potencia con la que saca ese remate, un remate con un efecto.
In that play, Orjan Nyland misplays a shot, coughs up the rebound. Jude Bellingham puts it in the back of the net, 2-1, and that would be your final as England moves on to the Final Four and they come here to Atlanta on your Wednesday to take on the winner of match number 2. Argentina and Switzerland. Argentina gets the win 3-1. Get a goal in the 10th minute, and you end up thinking, okay, this one's going to be pretty easy. Argentina in control for the majority of the match through that point. First 60 minutes, first 45, they were cruising at points. It was 1-0 going into the second half. Then Dan Ndoye, with 23 to go, gets the equalizer to tie it at 1. And then you end up with another moment that is driving some folks crazy. And it was another reversal of going one direction with a card and then going the other. Yellow on Leandro Paredes becomes a VAR-assisted yellow on Braille Embolo for embellishment. And it was, and you look at it, it was a dive. And so Embolo, who was on a yellow card, after the VAR reverses, you end up with Embolo going off. And so for 20 minutes, that would be more than 20 minutes, Switzerland had to play with 10. And so then Argentina, you tell that in the first 90, the remaining 20 minutes after the Embolo second yellow, that Switzerland's just trying to get out of the 90. Then in the extra 30, they're trying to navigate, and it's going to be like, okay, let's just try and figure out. A lot of the time it looked like they were just trying to get to penalties. But then you get to the momentum, say, from minute 105 and beyond, and you end up with this moment. Julian Alvarez, and there are a couple of different descriptors that were given on this particular goal. And here was how it was called, and I'll let you know about the boss after we play the highlight, once again, courtesy of our friends at Telemundo Deportes.
Para el flaco. Julián Álvarez. ¡Gol! Para anotar el primero en esta Copa del Mundo, Julián Álvarez, pero qué pedazo de gol, se guardó para el tiempo suplementario para destrabarlo.
So a 14, so it starts with a 6. So I honestly hoped that after the matches that were earlier in the week, that you could tell Andres Cantor needed some rest and some rehab. Hopefully he talked to no one between the last match he called, then going into Kansas City, calling the match last night. So he had a 6-second hold, a 14-second hold, a 12-second hold, and an 11-second hold on the goal call for Julian Alvarez. And where Alvarez put that, you can either say that was where Mama hides the cookies or the chips, or as Jarrett found out, it's a spider killer, because it was in the upper corner. Alvarez scores to make it 2-1. Lautaro Martinez provides insurance, closing seconds in a transition opportunity. And it was basically a 3v2, and Thiago Almada tries to go down the middle. Keeper makes the save, pops up into the air, and then it was Lautaro Martinez with the rebound, getting it past the keeper and into the net. 3-1, your final. France and Spain At Jerry World on Tuesday, England and Argentina here in Atlanta on Wednesday. Thomas Tuchel, after the match, wasn't all that happy about it. But bottom line is they move on, and they are going to be a part of the Final Four, if I could spell Tuchel. And here was what Thomas Tuchel said after the match. And, yeah, he's not happy. But, of course, you're happy you get the result, but you're happy but you're not happy, or you're not happy but you're happy. Here's Thomas Tuchel after the fact discussing how he is, in fact, happy but not happy.
Absolutely. No one disputes that. I'm impressed with the shift that they put in, the effort, team spirit, the belief, the belief and to overcome adversity and to dig in and find ways to win is on the absolutely highest level. They cannot get enough praise for that. But I'm also a football coach, and I think we can play better. In general, I think it was not a high-level game. I think we had better games in general. We had a lot of momentum swings for both teams. So, yeah, full credit to the team. We found a way. We're in the last four. This is, of course, the most important. But the analyzing head of me and the football coach in me still thinks that we can and have to play better football.
Got work to do. No surprise. I mean, that is a football coach for you, especially in a tournament situation. So Thomas Tuchel knows he's got work to do. I would say, especially on defense, considering how many different, I think he's had 27 different right backs in this particular tournament. Injuries, knocks, fouls, formations, all of that. Looking at Thomas Tuchel defensively, and I think that's obviously what Argentina is going to be looking at. And so you have Argentina, who's been giving up goals. And you have England, who can give up goals. So maybe as we get closer to the medio over on the Discord, and it will be wins and props will be how we handle the next two episodes of the medio for the Discord and picks of the week. I'll try and figure out what they look like. They'll be posted tomorrow. So you have defenses that have given their coaches agita playing in Atlanta. And then you have France and Spain, where a lot of folks might be sitting there saying, yeah, this is the final in Dallas. France, which is insanely talented. Spain, which is rewriting the books on offense. So you've got two great offensive powers in Dallas. You have two great stories in Atlanta, and that's Tuesday and Wednesday. So that's kind of where we are after two matches that went 120 yesterday and ended late night. The Andres Cantor thing that I was going to let you in on. Obviously, I have, short of the occasional public appearance, not watched a whole lot of FOX. I have watched a great deal of Telemundo's coverage, maybe studio coverage on Big FOX, but I have been watching Telemundo the entire time because when they're up and running, it is review, it is preview, it is multiple desks on site, it is the game, it is the energy, and they're done. They recap it, and then they move on to the next one. That's what they're all about. For me, the energy was one of the main selling points. And when Andres Cantor is calling your match, it turns into must-see TV. And with a Hall of Famer calling a match, you sit there and you listen and you watch and you try and understand the energy that's coming and from where it is coming from to end a sentence in a preposition. Argentine by birth. So that kind of gives you the other element of this. There is a there's a video that's out on social media, and it is from the 22 World Cup in Qatar. And it was Andres Cantor. It was basically booth camp. And it was a chance for everyone to see what Andres Cantor is going through when he's calling a match. Booth cam was on him for the final. It was taped. It wasn't live, but nevertheless, it was being recorded. And so when he is calling his Argentina winning a championship, a world championship, as a play-by-play announcer, and getting to call it for his native country, and you sense the energy that is attached to it. And so that was the third time in history, in 22. It had been almost 40 years. 78, 86, 2022. So in 1986, that was the last time before Qatar. Andres Cantor was 24 years old. So in 1986, Andres Cantor is 24. He has to wait until he is 60 to see his home country, the country of his birth, win a World Cup. He is in Qatar when it happens. He calls the matches. So he sees it happen. And like I said, check out booth cam from 22, from the final. And you get to see what it means. And so when you have that kind of energy coming through normally, and then you have it attached to what you see from Argentina, yes, there's a little bit of home heart and home love that's attached to it. But from all of the announcers at Telemundo, they have done a superior job of telling the stories all the way through. I mean, they're not messing around. And I recommended to friends who have kind of gotten hooked on the sport while watching the World Cup. I said, look, do me a favor. Watch the Argentina match last night. I was leading up to yesterday. And I said, do this. Watch the Argentina match off Telemundo. Do me that favor. You'll understand why I've been watching Telemundo pretty much the entire time. And so that's where that has come from. It has been an amazing product. It's been great distribution. You get to see what it means in a home country. And like I said, they're not messing around. They've done a fantastic job in studio with our friend Ramsey Sandoval. FDP Radio Football de Primera with our friend Sami Sadovnik. You listen to them. They have their matches on YouTube. I mean, it's in a studio space, but they have their matches on YouTube, and you can see how they're navigating it. And so that reminds me, when this show is done today, I need to download the FDP calls from the matches today, specifically the Argentina match. So when we get to catch up with Ramsey Sandoval, when we get to catch up with Sami Sadovnik, when we get to catch up with all those folks, and you get to sense the energy and you get to feel the energy, you understand where it's coming from. So that's why I've been watching those. And when I came home last night from the Twos game, and we still had some time on the clock, I think Argentina had then gone to the extra 30. I explained to the boss, and the boss flipped it over to Big FOX. And I said, okay, can you do me a favor? And she likes to listen to English language programming. But she knows that when I'm here in the office, I'm watching Telemundo. And she'll tell everybody else that, yes, we have a lot of Telemundo going on in the office, and it's down low, and that's where it goes. So I said, Andres Cantor is calling the game for Telemundo. Can we switch it? And she did. And so it was a shared experience where the boss and I got to watch Andres Cantor, and that match last night, especially navigating the final 30 minutes. And you sense the energy and the roller coaster that's all a part of it. And so that's why, like I said, for me, personal preference, I'm watching Telemundo for 95% of the time. Like I said, I may duck out and see Studio Space on Big FOX, but I've been Telemundo most of the time. If you have an opportunity, either go back and watch the matches from yesterday on Telemundo, or if you can catch them and you just want to have noise in the room, just go ahead and play a replay, and it exists. If you've got Peacock, you can go there. So that's my PSA. Watch the Telemundo experience. Listen to them, especially with these final 4 matches that are coming up, because remember, we do have a third place game. So semifinals, if you're not going, don't have tickets to either Jerry World or downtown, save a space for the Telemundo audio. Third place match in Miami, championship up at the Meadowlands a week from today. And so that's the PSA for broadcast for this time around. We know the Final Four, it's in Dallas, England, and Spain. We know in Atlanta, it's Argentina, England. Just be prepared. Southeastern United States, be prepared. Not like you haven't been, but it's going to be off the wall. It's going to be off your rocker coming up this week. Don't be surprised if folks tried to find flights from Kansas City and are already in the Southeast, getting everything ready for what's going on with the Final Four in the World Cup. So that's your World Cup. That's your World Cup coverage for today, and we're going to be obviously covering it all week long. We'll be at the MD-1s on Tuesday. Practices in the morning. I think Argentina's is at 10 o'clock, and then it's the press conferences, and then the match on Wednesday. While we're all watching what's happening in Dallas on Tuesday. All right, other leagues and all the chaos that's attached to it. We mentioned what goes on in, when you're north of 120 minutes, you go to shootouts. Prinks Cup in USL Championship, that was going on yesterday, and it would determine who would move on and get out of the group and get into the knockouts. And so here was how one of those matches in particular ended. And it ended up with keeper on keeper. Here's how it ended with Brooklyn FC and Rhode Island FC, and it was an off-the-rails PK situation. Here are the last couple of frames, courtesy of our friends at USL Championship and USL Soccer themselves.
Romeo denied. Koke says no way.
What a save this is from Koke Vegas.
Can he do so here and make it 4 of 4 for Rhode Island? No! Lucas Burns. Huge denial.
Reads it the whole way, Burns. Phenomenal save.
In round 5, it's JC Obregon. A goal today, but he misses the PK. Can win the shootout for Rhode Island. Vegas drills it.
So that was Koke Vegas for Rhode Island FC in the 5th frame, getting the win in PKs against Brooklyn FC. So here's your scores. Spokane Velocity over Oakland Roots 3-1. Riverhounds over Loudoun 2-0. Hartford Athletic 2-1 over Westchester. P-Hop, Portland Hearts of Pine knocking off the Cosmos in penalties, 4-2 in pens after 1-1 after 90 minutes. Kickers over Greenville, 2-1 at GE Vernova. Detroit City goes to Fort Wayne and beats Fort Wayne 2-1. Rhode Island, 4-3 winners in pens over Brooklyn FC. They would get the win. The Miami FC over Sarasota, 5-0. Tampa Bay 2-0 over FC Naples. Legion over FC Tulsa, 3-1. Lou City doubles Lexington in Bluegrass Derby, 4-2. Ford Madison and Union Omaha, they just pulled the governor out of the golf cart. 4-3 Ford Madison at Breeze Stevens. 1 Knox beat Corpus Christi in Pens 4-2, 1-1 after 90. New Mexico United in their derby with El Paso wins that one 2-1 at Southwest University Park. San Antonio 2-0 over Chattanooga Red Wolves at Toyota. AC Boise over Sacramento Republic 2-0. Charleston and Charlotte Independence go 2-2 after 90. Charlotte Independence win in penalties 4-2. Vegas over Monterey Bay 3-2 at Cardinal. Colorado Springs Switchbacks 3-0 over Orange County, and Irvine AV Alta over Phoenix Rising 2-1 in Lancaster. So that means that your standings in group: Spokane Velocity get out of Group 1. Group 2, Switchbacks get out of there after you've got 4 matches done there. Group 3, San Antonio wins that group with 11 points. Lou City wins Group 4 with 11 points. Hartford Athletic, 3 wins and a draw. They're the top of Group 5. Group 6, Charlotte Independence, they go on to win there. That one's 10 points in that group, and they superseded Charleston. Group 7, Tampa Bay wins the Florida group, and that one was 12 points for them, 4 wins across the board. And we are trying to determine what happens now when you get into the knockout stages. So we know who has won each of the groups. 7 group winners. And so now where we are with, competition structure. So let's get into the competition structure. 7 group winners and a wild card advance to the knockouts. Wild card awarded to the second place team with the most points in group play, followed by first tiebreaker of most goals scored. Quarterfinals are held in about a month. So let's see. So if the wild card is 7 group winners and a wild card. So let's see which wild card team had the most points. We're going to try and figure this out ourselves and figure out the overall standings. Now, do we get anything past the overall standings? Okay, so second most points. Charleston, the Miami FC, Birmingham, New Mexico United, they all have 9 points, finishing second. So New Mexico had 5 goals, as I sit here and scan quickly. And then the Miami FC also had 5 goals. So then it was goals in group play, head-to-head earned in group play, total wins in group play, goals against, goal differential, number of disciplinary points. So goals for head-to-head earned in group play. So it was not, 2 does not apply. Total wins in group play, I think, means it goes to the Miami FC. I think so. Well, let's see. Hang on. Okay, so New Mexico United had 3 wins. So New Mexico United and the Miami FC each had 3 wins. Goals against in group play. So we're down to tiebreaker number 4. The Miami FC had 6, New Mexico United. So at tiebreaker number 4, if I'm reading this correctly, the wild card goes to New Mexico United. So they would be the 8th team to go in. And then they would join the group winners in about a month to move you forward in Prinks Cup. So that is how that apparently is going to look for Prinks Cup. Your 7 winners of the groups: Spokane, Colorado Springs, San Antonio, Lou City, Hartford, Charlotte Independence, Tampa Bay, and I think the wild card, if we're doing our math right, is New Mexico United. So those 8 move on, and they'll play head-to-head in about a month's time. So that was what was happening in Prinks Cup. So it was a Prinks Cup weekend in USL Championship and USL League One. So looking at those 8, I think those are the 8 that are going to move forward, and that will handle it for the USL and USL Championship and Prinks Cup. Speaking of USL, they had their USLW national semifinals early and late. Once again, thanks to Maxie Vieira and everybody at Asheville City to orchestrate Coach coming in from a hotel room in Burlington, Vermont yesterday morning on the morning show. Asheville City goes to Vermont Green. Virtue Field, you had north of 5,000 folks there, and it was as tight as you would expect. Came down to a moment, and here is that moment, courtesy of USLW and Vermont Green, their own selves.
Mara has drifted out wide, stayed on side. Mara cutting, shooting! It's a banger! Emily Mara top bins! Green in front! She just picked out the corner and drilled it! The little Mara magic!
And this crowd is absolutely loving that strike. They got a first-class look at that beautiful strike by Mara. Just cutting inside, getting the defender to back up. Great prep touch, curls it around the goalkeeper. Top-notch strike.
She has been.
And she has been the one to get it done for Vermont Green. That was the only goal of the match. 55th minute, Emily Mara breaks the deadlock with the strike. Asheville had a couple of chances at the end of the match, could not break through. Their postseason run ends in Vermont. Then Vermont Green becomes the latest club to make it to the final in their inaugural season in USLW. Then they had to wait. And they had to wait till about 1 o'clock this morning. Salmon Bay and Minnesota Aurora. Minnesota Aurora gets a penalty. Aiki Tagawa scores. Then you end up with about 2 minutes to go. Taylor Fox, the keeper for Minnesota Aurora, collides with a Salmon Bay attacker inside the box. You get a PK. Kaihue steps up, converts from the spot. Salmon Bay equalizes. It's 1-1. That's how it is after 90. Minnesota gets a red in the first 15 minutes of extra time, so they're having to play the second 15 down to 10. Extra time, you're tied at 1-1. You go to PKs, and here's how it wrapped up. Adam Race is on the call, courtesy of Salmon Bay FC, their own selves. Here was how that one ended. And like I said, it ended late. Late. Here's how PKs ended at Salmon Bay and Inner Bay last night, or this morning, depending on which time zone you're talking.
This would be the ultimate redemption story. Anna Menti has played some of the most minutes of any player in the young history of this club. To keep Salmon Bay swimming. It's in! The Coho have slain the Giants of the Midwest at the doorstep of glory! It's a night that these fans will never forget.
And Adam is not wrong. Salmon Bay gets the win in PKs, so start your puns already. Adam got you started. You might have been watching on the stream. Salmon Bay swimming uphill or upstream. All of those puns, get them out of the way. Salmon Bay goes on to win in PKs, winning 3-2. If you've got some time, go back and watch Salmon Bay and Minnesota Aurora in PKs. It's great to catch up with Jake Griffith, the voice of Aurora, heading into that matchup to kind of get the intel on USLW. But Vermont Green, Salmon Bay, USLW final, and that is going to be 10:30 Eastern time Saturday night. Saturday the 17th or Saturday the 18th? Saturday the 18th. 10:30 Eastern at Inner Bay in Seattle. So 1567 was the amount of folks that were in the door last time. I would anticipate it's going to be more than that. If there was a way to change a venue to maybe get into something 2,500, that might be something too. Just saying. So your final in USLW is going to be Vermont Green traveling west. They're going to take on Salmon Bay at home at Inner Bay next Saturday night, 10:30 Eastern, on however you wish to consume your product. WPSL playoffs. This is where Maddie comes into play. And Maddie had a day. Maddie had a day. Started at noon, ended 10-ish, 10:15. The first match on the board, Georgia Impact and Little Rock Rangers, was supposed to start at 1:30. It didn't. Thunder and Lightning, very, very frightening me. Matchup started at 2. It took 5 hours to complete because of multiple delays for weather. And so Georgia Impact, Little Rock Rangers, they would wrap up about 6:30, which meant that the Pensacola-Arlington SA match would not start on time either. That would be about 90 minutes late, probably closer to 2 hours late. And started about 8, done about 10, but it went to PKs on its own. So just to let you know what happened in the South Region semifinals to get you ready for the South Region final today, here was how Georgia Impact made their way through to get to the final. And Maddie's on the call, and she was fighting it. She was fighting it all day. But here's Georgia Impact's goal on the board.
Headed down, Eats. Plays it through. Great run. Finds Obradovac. Obradovac into the 18. Obradovac slips it through. There's the opener! Able to play it over the top. Inez Obradovac drives into the 18. Has 2 defenders on her. Doesn't matter. She's able to get the right foot, slots it home.
And there was the goal that Georgia Impact needed to get the win over Little Rock Rangers. So they got to wait, even after waiting a lot. And then Pensacola and Arlington, they went for a while. They went to PKs. Here's the end of that one. And here's Maddie.
Rainey Tolson steps up to the spot. You asked your keeper to make one save. Tolson slots it home as it bounces off and in. And just like that, Pensacola are heading to the South Region final.
And your winner is Pensacola. Join us tomorrow at 4
An
p.m.
unbelievable matchup, an unbelievable day here at Woodstock High School. It ends with a penalty shootout and Pensacola heading to the South Region final to face Georgia Impact.
And that's at 4 o'clock this afternoon, WPSL TV, WPSL.TV. And winner of Georgia Impact and Pensacola goes to Kansas City. Kansas City current practice facilities where they're going to have the Final Four. That is going to be next weekend. Winner of Georgia Impact and Pensacola gets the winner of New York Athletic Club and Penn Classics. That one is today in 3 hours. The East Region champ takes on the South Region champ. Then on the left-hand side of the bracket, Spokane Shadow over San Francisco Nighthawks. They're going to take on Cal Storm. That one is 10 o'clock tonight. And the winner of that one takes on the winner of Salvo SC and Kansas City Current 2. So KC Current 2 has a chance to win a championship in their own barn if they can get past Salvo. That one is tonight at 8 o'clock. So it's 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 10 o'clock to determine who goes to the WPSL championship. And that is going to be on July 18th and 19th. So Saturday, it's going to be 10 o'clock in the morning for the winner of Georgia Impact, Pensacola, NYAC, and Penn Classics. And then at 12:30 Eastern, Spokane Shadow Cal Storm winner takes on Salvo and KC Current 2. So that's your WPSL championship. If you're not doing anything and you're up in the northwest suburbs of Atlanta, 4 o'clock this afternoon, weather permitting, Georgia Impact and Pensacola FC to determine who goes to Kansas City. And we will effort those coaches as well here this week on the show. So that is what the rundown is. All right, since we are north of 10 o'clock, that means one thing. Time for your hydration break, brought to us by our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores. And they are at 2 locations here in the Atlanta area, here in the SDH home. Johns Creek and Cumberland at the intersection of Cumberland Boulevard and Cobb Parkway. And so 2 locations, get your needs taken care of when it comes to all of your partying or normal consumption. We just ask that you consume safely and wisely. And so local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores, once again, 2 great locations. Thanks for being great partners and friends with us here at SDH here starting in 2026. So everyone, hydration break. I need hold music. I really do. Really do need some music when we do that particular thing. So, yeah, we got to get some music for that. All right. So quickly before we await Nino Torres, and it is the normal time slot for Nino. And so I asked, I wondered where he was. I literally did. I was like, do we need hold music? Do I need hold music, or do we need it? But no, we do not. We do not need hold music here to start off hour number 2 on a Sunday mashup. Yes, see now Nino's getting hydrated. So Nino's ready. He's getting hydrated. He's gassed up and ready to go. Yellow for a Sunday morning mashup, sir. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yellow. So here and a wonderful, glorious, epic, legendary Sunday. Everybody clap with me. La, 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 la.
God.
La, 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 la. Hey, you. Oh, my God, man.
Judy, baby.
It's very touchy. I don't, to be honest, I've been watching World Cups for like almost 50 years now, and I don't recall any World Cup with this connection with the fans. There's always there's a fan base. So the Argentinians always, the French ones, and but this connection that we're so privileged to live in this era, though, so we can get to get close to each other in this at this level. The connection, fan base, and teams, it is just insane on this World Cup, man. Insane.
Oh, so where were you watching and partaking yesterday? Were you in the Casa de Nino? Were you out and about? Were you letting folks sample the Nino the Bakerness? What were you up to yesterday?
I'm just so glad that you asked me that. I was gonna bring it in. I was like, how do I bring this thing? All right, he asked me for this. Okay. So I went to my girlfriend's house, right?
Good start. Yeah, you go.
I went to my girlfriend's house because she invited me, and because honestly, she hasn't seen me a lot lately on this month, because of the World Cup. I'm like, why don't you come over here and watch the game here? I'm like, all right, okay. She's all right. She's not a soccer fan, right? Of course. But we were sitting there watching, and the game was about to start, and it's just like, I don't like Messi.
Whoa.
Crap. Why you don't like him? Because I heard there's all these stories that he's a prick and this and that, and the Argentina has everything all set up with Infantino. Like,
wow.
Like, all right, honey, but let me explain this to you. I don't want any explanation. I just don't like him. Like, and inside of me, I was like, I'm so sorry for you, but you're gonna hear me scream like a crazy fan that I am once Argentina wins this one. I didn't say that. I just thought about it. Of course, I thought about it. And there you go. I was screaming that goal from Julian like a crazy guy that I am. And she ended up, just joined the party, and hugging me and stuff. But she was against Argentina. I was like, no, how I can be a visitor? How I cannot be a visitor here. I mean, I love you. You love me. I can be a visitor here. Why you still put me this away fan atmosphere for Leo Messi? And there you have it, brother. It was just great. It was.
I mean, and I was telling the story in hour number 1. I had Jason was late night on Atlanta radio, so I was doing the matchup for Atlanta United's second team on the network, and so I get home just in time for the end of regulation, and they're getting ready for the next 30. And so I'm listening to the match, and I'm driving home and everything. So I get home here in the office. I've been watching Telemundo almost the entire time, like 97% of the time I'm watching Telemundo.
Nice.
Just because, I get it, the energy level, and I know what it means, and it's a greater sense of urgency and energy and all of that. And so Andres Cantor was on the call for the Argentina match last night. And so I get home, and boss wants to catch up. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" So I explained what's going on. I said, "Argentina's going to another 30," and so she takes the remote and she changes it to the American English language broadcast. And I'm like, okay. I used my first timeout. I called a 30, and I said, Andres Contour's on the call on Telemundo, and she goes that, and then she goes bang. She goes right, and she doesn't. She's not locked into Spanish language broadcast as much as I am. But she's like, Andres Contour. That's it. That's all you got to say. She's just like bang, and so we watched the final 30 that way. And I think she heard a noise out of me when Julian Alvarez scored. I'm going to let you finish your hydration there. Yeah, she heard a noise out of me when Julian Alvarez scored the goal to make it 2-1. Literally, he scores, and I go, "Whoa!" Because, I mean, what you saw with the Swiss defense after Embolo got the red, the second yellow, which creates the red, and it was a dive. So, no, that was on him for doing something silly when you didn't need to. So you're down to 10, and it was a line of 5. It was a line of 3, and then you had one who was a chaser up top in the triangle. And so you saw them work to the left-hand side of their attack to draw the defenders over, and it creates just enough space to give Alvarez that angle right there on the elbow at the near side. And so he goes 2 strides away and then just strikes it from the edge, from just outside the 18, and it was perfect.
It was just absolutely beautiful, stunning. And you know what? This is Argentina keeps recovering their weapons. They just keep bringing back to the party, because to be honest, it hasn't been a great World Cup for Julian Alvarez. I mean, he was an absolute beast in the last World Cup, but not in this one. And to score this goal, to shake it up, and to score the goal, that magnitude, of that quality, of that beauty, it was just absolutely all right, man. I'm just standing up, and then to top it off, the other number 9 who hasn't been on the records, on the scoring sheets, Lautaro Martinez. So the 2 number 9s that they were not on the scoring sheet throughout the entire World Cup, they're in now. Now for the Final 4. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, and it was probably the lowest performance of Lionel Messi on this match, on this cup. The most, I mean, you gotta give credit to the Swiss, man.
Oh,
you gotta credit to the Swiss. They were double teaming, triple teaming, and it was just insane. There was no even for him to squeeze in between that backdraft of a Swiss army that was in the box, inside the box, outside the box, in the middle of the pitch, everywhere, man. They were just everywhere. And I got something for you guys. I got something special for you guys. It has to do with the back-to-back World Cup winners. That's something that hasn't been happening since 1962. All right. So quarterfinals across 74 matches that they've been playing in the quarterfinals in the history of the World Cup. Talking about the entire, since 1930 to now. Only 3 times a quarterfinal match ended up in a 3-1. You know who were the previous two?
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead and hit me.
1938, Italy was the reigning champion, and they beat who, I think it was France or England. I forgot who was the rival, but they won 3-1 in that quarterfinal match. 1962, Brazil, the reigning champions, and the last time that a World Cup was won twice in a row by a single team, a single nation. It was in that year, and it was Brazil who got it done. And this one was against England. I forgot who was in the Italy game.
It was France. June 12, 1938 in Cologne. They knocked off France to go to the semifinals. They beat Brazil and Marseille 2-1, and then they beat Hungary and Cologne 4-2 for the win. 3 wins in a week, but it started with that 3-1 win in the quarters over France in 1938.
And the last time, it was last night. but the reigning champions beating Swiss 3-1 to advance into the semifinals.
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna leave it like that, brother.
Mhm.
I just you believe or don't. I believe. I choose to believe.
Mhm.
Isn't that those coincidences are just really oh my god, ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's destiny talking to you. That's destiny talking to you. And for all of you guys, Anti Messi, I don't know how many of you guys are here on this channel, on this show.
The
Probably
entire
not many.
freaking world is watching. Are you kidding me?
I know. I know. Sorry, guys, but yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Listen to you. So you know, when you come in with stories like that, we got to go here.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Thank you, Paul Harvey. Thank you, Nino Damas, for that. I mean, that's yeah. Look, my bracket, I had Argentina winning, going back to back. Look, I've said this from the beginning. I want the fairy tale. I want the back to back. I want Messi at 39 go out on top as a champ. And I mean, I'll say this: if they beat England here in Atlanta on Wednesday, and then if they beat whomever on the other side of the bracket after those two teams beat the ish out of each other on Tuesday in Dallas, because you know, France and Spain are going to beat the ish out of each other. And
I'll talk about
the
that.
survivor of that one goes to the Meadowlands to take on the winner of Argentina and England. This is going to be something that Argentina has earned, because it has not been where, yeah, we're cruising through this entire thing. If you look at the last 3 matches, they have earned this
Overtime,
they have earned this one. It hasn't been just 5-1, 6-1. Yeah, we're cruising and we're punching folks in the neck. You have had to come through and earn this each and every time. You survive Cabo Verde, which is a sentence I don't think anybody has ever said in their entire life. You survive Cabo Verde in Miami. Then you come to Atlanta, survive Egypt down 2-0 with 15 to go, and you come back and you win that one 3-2. Then last night, you had to survive 10-man Switzerland. Like I said, yes, you give them their flowers for defending the way that they did with 10, but you cannot stop what Julian Alvarez did. You can't stop that spider killer. You cannot stop where Nino hides the special sugar. You cannot. You can't stop that. And then obviously garbage time when you're chasing makes it 3-1. But this is one that they have earned on their way out the door.
And you mentioned the matches, right? But let's focus on one thing here. No other team has scored 3 goals in 3 consecutive matches in this cup, in the knockout stage. 3-3-3. 3-3-3. That's 3-3-3 going for the number 4. It's just, don't forget about that. Don't forget about that. And I gotta say this, Johnny. I'm this is gonna be the I think this semifinal is gonna be the most beautiful one. The one Argentina versus England. And with all due respect to France and Spain, sorry guys, but your history in the World Cups is not as great as your folks on the other side of the bracket. It's not as good. It's not as dramatic. It's not as epic. It's not as It's gonna be a massive game. It's gonna be a massive game between France and Spain. But the rivalry is not there. You know, I mean, of course they want to. Hey, yeah, you beat me 5-4 in the Nations League. Oh, I won the Euro over you. Yeah, okay. But here in their hearts, I'm not gonna say there's no fire. There's no such a thing for soccer players when you're going into a semifinal. But the motivation for England is way different than the motivation from France. The motivation for Argentina is way different than the one from Spain going against against France is way different. And I mentioned this last time around, Johnny, about the chant, the anthem, the Argentina anthem, saying we win this one. Is the one because here is the one they stole for Diego. We're gonna win the last one for Leo. That thing right there, that line right there, it's just the Argentines, purest state of mind when it comes to soccer. And I know Spain has a wonderful midfield. France has the most scary offense machine in the tournament. Still, if we gotta do a ranking right now in this Final Four, France number one, England's number two, Spain's number three, and Argentina's number four in terms of level of performances throughout this World Cup. Because even though I want Argentina to win, I got to recognize that the level of tactics, the level of efficiency, the level of fluidity that they put into the game is not the same. It's not the same level as Spain. It's not the same level as France, which, by the way, they are the team to beat. They are the scary soccer machine. That's whoever says otherwise doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, that's the reality. They are the favorites to win this one. What are the odds, Johnny? You got the odds now, or you got the odds out about these Final Four guys?
Efforting. I will see if our favorite. I will see if our favorite juice boxers are now behaving.
It's gotta be France number one. I think it's gotta follow my ranking.
Okay, so hang on. So let me see. So I don't know what it is about our favorite aggregators. Just decide to go to sleep with everything. So I literally, it's like there's this one particular aggregator that takes like 10 or 11 separate juice boxers and they jam them all into one equation and they give me a composite. And so they've gone to sleep like the last couple of days. And it's like, I don't know what you people are doing. Okay, so in the semis themselves, France is a plus 130. This is Tuesday. France is a plus 130 on Tuesday to beat Spain, plus 225 in 90 minutes. And Spain to win outright in 90 minutes is also a plus 225. England to win outright on Wednesday is a plus 155. 90-minute draw is a plus 200. Argentina is also a plus 200. So Argentina is an underdog taking on England. And Spain is an underdog taking on France. But Argentina is an underdog here. So to win it outright, France is a plus 150. Spain and England are actually the same at a plus 333. Argentina is fourth at a plus 400.
So Nino Damos rankings matching up with the odds. So, but of course, those are the odds, and the odds are made to be beat.
They are meant to be beat in some circles, and then they are meant to make the house very happy in others. I mean, when your third topic here is Vive la France, and so you mentioned how completely and totally insane they are offensively with dictator Mbappe, and just the firepower that they have. You got to make a decision in and around Mbappe, I think, to start. Do you sit there and try to bracket him? Do you try to close everything down? Or do you try to close everybody else down knowing that Mbappe is going to get his? I think that's probably the first question.
He's going to go all in. Didier Deschamps is going to go all in. He's not going to hold any of his guns under the table. No. He's going to go all in because as who said this? It was Zlatan. Who said this? That how do you put Didier Deschamps? I think it was Titi Henry who said this. He's a serial winner. Didier Deschamps is a serial winner. And serial winners, they don't hold back. They don't hold. But he's going to go all in against Spain, and they're going to try to close this matchup in 90 minutes. I think that's the mentality for the Champs and company to try to close it out in 90 minutes and get as much as recovery time that they can get before the finals. They don't want any overtimes, any penalties, anything like that.
Bless you.
I think that's the way that France is gonna go. They're not gonna take any prisoners. They're just gonna flat out go out there and drop the tanks and drop all the machinery, all the armor. I mean, they just gonna go all in. But having said that, this is the team. If there is a team that can stop this machine, that's Spain. If there is a team in the planet right now that can stop this machine, that's Spain. No, because they're soccer smart. They're street smart and they're soccer smart. And when you add those two elements to the pitch, you're putting up a team that is very hard to beat. It's very hard to beat. And there was just a proof right there that Unai Simon was the goalie with the most minutes without conceding a goal. They ended up, I think it was 600 minutes or something.
Stupid number.
It's just insane. So that puts you right there. It's gonna be the best offense against the best defense, and not just the best defense. It's just because the whole team knows how to defend. It's not about the back four or the back five or whatever. No, it's the whole team. How do they put the numbers? How do they drop their personnel into the seams and to block not just the passing lanes, but before you're gonna think about it, they're there. Oh, I'm gonna go this route. They know your route. They figure out your route and then they stop you right there. And once they stop you, they get the ball back. And it's just the combination, the dynamics of the rotations that go from the sides that brings you to Spain and to assist and to feed Oyarzabal, to feed Medina, to feed. I mean, you got so many weapons also. Don't forget about the weapons in Spain. And don't forget the best, the super sub that is Medina for Spain, coming off the bench and scoring goals every single time. Like, hey, we need a killer here, please. Can you close this deal? Yeah, sure. Let me in.
Well, and you're also seeing a player in Oyarzabal who has not been getting a lot of attention, because I think that he would be getting a lot more going into the tournament if he played at a bigger name in La Liga.
Yeah.
But because because he's at Real Sociedad, it's like, oh yeah, Mikel Oyarzabal, yeah, whatever. Okay, cool. But you've seen him again and again and again. I think after that first match where he had the clunker against against Cabo Verde in group, he has come on, and now everybody's like, oh, Mikel Oyarzabal. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, he can score.
Yeah, so
he can do that.
Yeah, after that first match in group where he was a non-factor, he has turned into a pain in the you know what. And you mentioned the super sub and Mikel Merino. It's like literally in the 90+1 and then in the 88th. It's like, okay, so then that means the third time you're going to score in the 85th. You're scoring earlier and earlier each time to put a game out of reach, sir.
Yeah, that's your Manu Ginobili right there. It's just your Manu Ginobili for San Antonio Spurs right there. That's what you got on Mikel Merino and Luis Lafuente. He knows a thing or two about beating Spain, about beating France. So it's gonna be. This is the thing, right? This is the difference between these two semifinals. This France-Spain is gonna be the most beautiful to watch from the tactical standpoint, and from the performance standpoint. The other game between Argentina and England is just gonna be about, everybody's gonna be ended up crying in that game. Even the English fan base or the Argentinian fan base on the entire world is gonna end up crying, with or without you.
Oh, he's in the middle of telling his story, and then of course he freezes up. And I know exactly. Morning, David. I think he got a phone call or his battery died or something. So I'm going to do the magic here and we'll do this. So he's in the middle of telling his amazing story. But no, you're right. I think you're 100% correct. I think those two matchups are the heart and the head. I think the head is the first one where you have these two teams that are just the next wave. A lot of folks are sitting there saying this really is the final, but that's the head. That's where you have all the analysis and all this talent and the blunt force trauma that is attached to all these two teams. And then the second one, Argentina, England, that's the heart, because
That's it.
You have an Argentina roster. Do you want to be the one that sits there and loses what everybody thinks is probably going to be Messi's last tournament? No. And so they are going to literally cut off limbs, and they're going to beat everybody else with them on the way out the door to make sure that he gets that final win in the World Cup against England, who's been looking for it to come home for 60 years, man. 60 years. So it's the head in the first one and the heart in the second one.
It totally is. No, and I got another number for you, Johnny.
Here we go.
Another number for you. I got another matchup because it's been 40 years since the last time that Argentina and Maradona beat England to win the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And on the other semifinal is the 40th match between France and Spain in the history of the two. 40 years versus 40 matchup.
Oh,
40 is your number right there. If you're gonna put $40 down on your parlay, go for it, man.
But see, now it's like you got 3-1 and you've got 40, and you're out of control. Did we address no tiki taka, no problem?
No, but we can. We can.
Yeah,
we can.
It was on the list. I'm like, okay, so did we talk about no tiki taka?
No, we didn't talk about tiki taka, but it's just there are still traces of tiki taka on Spain, but they learn to leave it behind and focus on what they have now. There's no tiki taka for sure. There's still in some occasions I think they go the extra touch, and that's what oh man, just erase the tiki taka for good, brother. Forget about it. Just shoot. Just shoot. If Spain does that against France, they're gonna win it. They're gonna win it. And I said, man, why do you say this, Nino? Why do you say this? I said that the winner of the series between France and Portugal was gonna win it all. Oh my God! I mean, it's Spain and Portugal. Spain and Portugal. Spain and Portugal, right? Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah. Crap. Why did I say that? I don't like it anymore. I don't like it anymore. But if Spain beats France, I think they're the only ones that they can stop France right now.
Okay, so Nino Damas, hold, sir. We have a special guest who is crashing in this morning. Now that Morning Espresso, brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, is out the door, and you can subscribe at soccerdownhere.net. We bring the man in himself.
Hey, Jason.
What's up?
How you doing, brother? How you feeling? You got your mate going?
I'm coffee right now because, man, I just need all the caffeine. It'll be mate here in a little bit.
Insane. How you feeling after last night, man?
They got lucky that Brill and Bolo made a bad decision. Like, that game, it was all Switzerland in the second half. They get the goal. And for whatever reason, the Swiss, became unbalanced after tying it. Like, they were getting frantic. They were complaining about everything. They were just I don't know. It felt like the pressure got too much to them. And then, because even in the Embolo situation, you go back and watch it, you've got players running up to the referee trying to get a red card on Paredes. And he doesn't even touch him. And it's just such a bad decision that turned the game. I still thought it was going to go to penalties. I still thought Argentina couldn't find a way to break through, but this team just keeps finding ways. It's not pretty right now. They're old. They're tired. It's going to be really tough on Wednesday. I think they're the underdog going in, but they're here. And that's pretty amazing that we're going to get Argentina, England in Atlanta.
Insane. It's going to be insane, brother. It's going to be insane.
I'm trying to explain to people what this is going to be like. I went on 92.9 this morning, and I'm like, there is no comparison. There's nothing that has happened here from a sporting event that you can compare. It's not a Super Bowl. It's not we had Georgia, Alabama in a national championship game. Yeah, two great programs and great fan bases. This is that if there was a war between Georgia and Alabama at some point in the last 40 years. I mean, come on. This is a whole nother planet of what Wednesday is going to be like. Honestly, what tomorrow is going to start being like around here, because it's going to all start ramping up.
Who knew
Now,
that we
Jason,
would be drifting in Falkland Islands smack, you know?
If you know anything about Argentina, then you knew, like, you knew it was coming. I mean, it's just, and I think you're already going to start to get some of the defensiveness on the English side of it. It's going to be fascinating to see how people play this one from like a neutral perspective, what side they gravitate to. It feels like a lot of people are going against Argentina right now because of narratives, and England's not really getting the same treatment after their Norway match, which had some questions in it. Maybe a camera cable. I don't know.
Maybe.
That was crazy. I mean, it's just, this has been an insane tournament, and we still got 3 more games that matter and a third place game that could take it into a whole nother stratosphere.
Now, Johnny, that Jason brought in the Embolo play. I forgot to tell you something that was so caught up in the other things that we forgot about to talk to the referee. This is not this Joel Pinheiro, okay, is the most controversial referee in the Liga Portugal. Whenever you see Pinheiro on the pitch, oh my God, it's gonna be controversy here. Oh, why are we gonna talk about this guy for like the next 2 weeks? He was great last night. He was great. I think he's evil twin refs in the Liga Portugal, and the good one gets to play in the World Cup, man. It was insane, man.
Yeah, I thought in general it was pretty good, because that game could have bubbled over a few times and gotten out of control. And I thought he handled it as well as possible. He got a little feisty with Messi early, and Messi said, "Hey, don't talk to me like that." That was funny. The Embolo situation, he gets 100% right, and I thought it was really telling that there were some folks who were immediately in their feelings about that sending off, and you have
fraud.
Yeah, you have to send that off. Like, how many times, Nino, do we get riled up about diving in the game? They need to throw more yellows for diving.
Absolutely, and I was explaining the rule to my many chats that they were on fire last night. And that's your Argentina roaming the game again. No, guys, no, that's there's the no VAR for yellow. Yes, there is. In this particular situation, when the diver tries to get the yellow card for the opponent, which is what happened, that's when the VAR can say, "Hey, no, guys, don't show the yellow to him. It's gonna be a different story. It's gonna be otherwise." And ended up being the second yellow for Embolo. So I'm sorry, Embolo. No fraud, no robbing, just flat out 2026 refereeing rules. That's what it is.
100%.
Oh man, Nino actually broke out some numbers. Nino Damas went numerologist on us here.
Okay.
Nino, give Jason the numbers that you broke down, that you brought to the table when it comes to the heart and the head here.
Jason, so they did it in 74 matches in quarterfinals in the history of the World Cup. Only two times prior to this 3-1, that result happened. You know where was it? Yeah. You didn't know this one?
No,
I just didn't know.
You got me on this one.
All right. And you know when that happened? It happened in 1938, Italy, the reigning champions, Austin, France, 3-1. The next one, 1962, Brazil, reigning champions, Austin, England, 3-1. And last night, only 3 times in history that this happened.
And what happened in those other 2? Those teams went on and won the title.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I know the Argentines love their superstition.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Talking to Johnny, man, this is just destiny. This is what it is.
Well, then,
man, Destiny's going to have to find a hyperbaric chamber for this entire team right now to recover, because they looked tired last night.
Give him the one brought to you by the number 40. Go ahead and give him that one too.
Oh, the number 4, the 40.
Yes, the number 40.
The 40. All right. So, it's been 40 years, right? 40 years since the last goal. Not the last goal, but the Diego Maradona's goal and a goal, and the greatest goal of all time over England. And this is on the other side of the semifinals, on the other bracket. This is the 40th match in the history between France and Spain. 40 is your number. So if you got to put 40, just put your $40 on the parlay, Jason and John too.
We looking at a rematch from 22? You think France and Argentina?
Yeah. Yes, that's what's going to happen. And
I feel better about the France side of it.
Feel better in what sense?
I think France has been the best team in the tournament
by a long mile.
Yeah, I think Spain can hurt them. I think Spain can keep possession in a way. France really hasn't been tested, so I think Spain can hurt them, but France will get their revenge because Spain's had their number here for a little bit, and I don't think Spain's as good as they were in 24 or in even the Nations League last year summer.
When
that crazy 5-4 game. I think France gets it done, and then the Argentina-England game to me is a toss-up. And it's really going to come down to who recovers better because England's exhausted. People kept trying to downplay, the effects of Mexico City. I think it took a lot out of them. I don't think they were the same team once they had to pull Gordon because he's been outside of Kane and Bellingham. Gordon's been their best player. He's been amazing. And in Argentina, they're so narrow the way that they play, and it worked to a point. Now, here's the thing, though. England's not going to do the things that Cabo Verde and Egypt and Switzerland did. They're not going to pack the middle. They're not going to sit back deep. They're not going to try to take that space away from Messi. So maybe it works. I don't know, but I just think England is going to have more in the tank, although defensively, I think England is definitely susceptible to giving up goals, but so is Argentina. So I don't know. It could be an insane match on Wednesday.
I think I'm here comes Nino Torres again. I want to say 2.5 goals in this game.
I could easily see that.
2.5 goals. I'm not seeing this match going less than that. It's gonna be like 3-2, 2-2, 2-1, and something like that. So we want to see goals in this series. We're gonna see from both sides. Both teams is going to score for sure. I'm telling you that. So it's going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive. This semifinals. I'm so excited, man.
Okay, all right. So Nino Torres, before you exit and rejoin us on Thursday, we have a matter that we need to discuss, and we got to figure out.
Oh my God! Yes. Crap.
Okay. All right. So. Here's what we have figured out, and Jason and all of the machinations here of trying to get the Nino the Baker baked goods from Lima to Atlanta. I have figured out.
Pilots went down, but okay, go ahead.
Here's what I'm thinking. If you have a pilot that is leaving there and coming to the United States at some point this week, that pilot at that airport, all they have to do is go to Delta Cargo and Delta Cargo it to Atlanta. That's all they have to do. No one has to pick it up at whatever airport. We don't have to know anybody. All they've got to do is walk it to Delta Cargo, send it to Atlanta, and we pick it up in Atlanta, and I pay for Delta Cargo. It's like their Delta overnight service, but it's during either same day or overnight. So pack it in dry ice. Seriously, pack it in dry. Well, it doesn't matter. However it gets to the United States, all they've got to do is walk it to Delta Cargo, and then it gets sent by Delta Cargo here to Atlanta. So anybody hits the mainland, regardless of airline, they go to Delta Cargo in that airport. It gets here.
All right.
We don't have to know anybody. All they got to do is take it from the plane and obviously pack it in dry ice and then take it to Delta Cargo. And the old Delta Dash, Jason, when you and I were growing up, that's how it gets here. So that's the plan. So that's all we got to figure out. If you know a pilot, wherever they are in the U.S., it Delta dashes back here to Atlanta, and then we have it for the title. That's what we'll have.
Deal.
See?
We'll work on that, man. We'll work on that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. We'll see you Thursday.
Thanks,
hopefully,
Nino.
big news that we got the cake over there, man.
Oh, man. All right, be good, my friend. See you soon.
All right.
So, Jason, you've been very busy this morning. You've 92.9'd it. You've morning espressoed it. Is there anything in your head that has not made either Morning Espresso or 92.9 that is a holdover that you're like, oh, I forgot to talk about this?
This is the third time that you've had a semifinal group of all former champions. Third time in history. 70 and 90 were the other two. It's the top four teams. I mean, I feel like I've said it most of the tournament that there's a moat around the top four. They were a good bit better than the rest of the group, and there were some teams that I thought might jump that and potentially pull an upset. I thought somebody would get knocked off, but these four are the best four. And I think it is harsh to say, and I wouldn't say it just because of the other side of it. France and Spain, a lot of people are saying, oh, that should be the final. That should be the final. How many times do we see this happen where one side gets built up so much, the team that wins that, everybody just expects them to go on and win the final, and then the other one actually does.
Yep.
There's storylines galore. France is your best team coming into this stage. Spain has been your best defensive team, and they've shown resolve with these late goals from Mikel Merino. Argentina and England have both shown a ton of resolve, and you have a historic meeting in Atlanta between those two. Messi's never played England.
That's crazy.
They haven't played in anything since 2005. You're probably the only rivalry in sport that crosses continents, period. They've played at a lot of World Cups, 62, 66. Ratin, the former Argentine captain who passed away yesterday, he was sent off, and that's what kind of started a lot of this with Argentina and England, because there's a lot of history between England bringing and helping to grow the game in Argentina, as they did in Brazil, as they did in some other South American countries. But that 1966 game is what really kicked it up a notch, and that kind of started a lot of friction between the club sides from South America and from Europe, and especially from Great Britain, because after Ratin was sent off, and there's, it's 1966, there's differing stories about it. He sent off, he said he wanted a translator to speak to the German referee. The German, reportedly, this was before cards, really. The send-off is a big reason why we have cards. But reportedly, the referee didn't like the way that Ratin looked at him, so he sends him off, and he didn't want to leave. And there was things in the media being said by the English coach at the time who went on to win the World Cup that the Argentines were animals. That was the phrase that was used. That didn't go over very well. And then at that point, you're talking 20, not quite 20 years, about 16 years before the Falklands conflict. And I don't think a lot of people here maybe understand how that plays into this. And you have to then go to 86, because that was 4 years after. The Falklands conflict actually had a big hand in Argentina's poor performance in 82, because Argentina was under a dictatorship from 78 into the early 80s. And the players from Argentina thought that, oh, all's well. The war is going well. And then they get to Spain and they find out, yeah, it's absolutely not going well. And they were, mentally not in a good place going into that tournament. They didn't play well defending their title. And then in 86, they get the quarterfinal with England. And I mean, there's so much lore around that. And, Maradona has said after many times where he's asked about all these things, he said that he kind of preferred the first goal to the second goal, because it was like, I think he said, stealing a wallet from a thief in punching the ball in. I mean, it's a handball, and this has been the pre-VAR days, and he got away with it. And then he scored one of the greatest goals you'll ever see. But it's a 2-1 win for Argentina. And then it's all about revenge after that. The 98 game is so fascinating to me because of where the storylines went. And I just watched the Beckham documentary on Netflix not that long ago. That 98 game, first off, Michael Owen scores one of the greatest goals you'll ever see to give England the lead, or I think to level it at that point. I mean, it's back and forth. It was a crazy start to that game. And then you get the incident with Diego Simeone and David Beckham, and Simeone clatters into Beckham. He's on the ground, and Simeone kind of like grabs his hair and messes with him a little bit. And Beckham lightly flicks his leg up. It shouldn't have been a red card. It's a horrible red card to give in that moment. But the English media, instead of going there, which they should have, they absolutely should have. It was a terrible red card to give. And I don't know why the English media didn't go after the red card or go after Simeone. They went after Beckham. And they were, I mean, beyond horrible to David Beckham. It was, I mean, borderline criminal in some of the character assassination that people did to David Beckham after that, when what he did on the field was nothing.
Mhm.
Well, Argentina took advantage. They get the win in that game, and then it created the 2002 game where our friend Mauricio Pochettino is late on a tackle, gives a penalty to England, and Beckham converts the penalty, and England won 1-0. That's the last time they played in a World Cup. But all of that's four different games and a war involved in these two countries. And any one of those games would create storylines for this. All of that wrapped into one, and two very passionate fan bases and two fan bases that don't like one another because of all of these different things. There's a lot coming our way this week. And a lot of people need to know that and be very understanding of what we're about to deal with. Do not compare it to a college football match. Do not compare it to a Super Bowl or anything else that the city's had. For a one-off event in sports, this is the biggest thing that Atlanta has ever hosted up to this point because of all of the things going into it.
And it is going to be insane. Not that it already isn't in some manners, ways, shapes, and forms, but it's already nuts.
It's going to be when everybody starts to get here.
Yeah.
And that's where things will start to change, and it will have a completely different feel. We've been really lucky in this tournament with very limited issues with fans, and it's been generally a gigantic celebration. And this will not feel that way in general because of the history between these two countries, between, I think, what has been some pretty shameless work in different sections of the media of trying to gin up controversy in how Argentina's gotten here. And I don't know if it's really going to continue with England in the game against Norway. There wasn't the same level of controversy being propped up, even with the supposed cable situation and the goal. It's going to get very interesting, and people are going to get in their feelings about it, and people aren't going to want to hear anything from the other side of it. There's potential for a lot of friction in Atlanta over the next few days in a lot of different ways. And I hope that people are ready for what all could be coming. This is not just your average game.
Our broadcast plans for the week, as far as you can recall off the top of your head.
I know the 92.9 portion of it at this point. So I'm 9 to 11 tonight. We'll do a lot of tournament recap, set the table for what's coming up. Tomorrow, I'm 9 to 11 as well on radio. We'll start to really get into semifinal preview work. Tuesday, 10 to 11. We'll stay on a little bit on the 92.9 YouTube channel. Wednesday, during the day leading up to it, I don't know exactly what we'll do with AM. I think we'll probably go a little bit earlier and get down into the downtown corridor earlier than usual.
Yes.
We will have as much coverage as we can give you in all the buildup on Wednesday to kickoff. We'll hopefully be in the stadium. We're waiting to find out what credentials are going to look like for this. I will be AST from Skull Brewing from 6 to 9 afterwards. Dukes and Bell might have to buy me a segment or two, depending on how late this goes on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then for the final, we will be in South Downtown. 92.9 will be broadcasting first from the Founders Green Park with Abe Gordon. During the match, you can watch the game there. You can watch it at the Brew House. You can watch it at El Tesoro. You can watch it at Broad Street Barbecue and other places too. And then we will have AST from 6 till whenever after the final from the brew house. So that's what I know at this point. We're waiting to see when press conferences get booked. We know England's in the afternoon right now on Tuesday, or at least the mix zone is. We're waiting to see what training looks like for the teams. We're waiting on credentials. It's going to be something we've never seen before. And just to reiterate, because we get new listeners all the time, yes, I'm an Argentina fan. Yes, that's why I do what I do. I fell in love with the game because of Argentina. I didn't pick them because of Messi. I picked them because I saw Diego Maradona be brilliant when I was a kid. And yes, I am absolutely an Argentina fan, and I will be losing my mind going into this game because it is the biggest game that I'll ever have a chance to see. It's crazy. But we're going to talk about this from a million different angles coming into this. And I think it's something that we've always tried to do is give you the context, give you the background, give you the understanding of everything going on, and not hide that we're human beings who have our own feelings and emotions and all of that as well. And that's what this next week is going to be like, that's at least for the next few days until we know who the final is. And then that will ramp it up again if you get whatever combination you get. I mean, if it's France-Argentina, it's a rematch of the last final. The storylines write themselves. If it's Spain and Argentina, that's a game that hasn't really been played very much. And there's a decent bit of, again, history between Spain and Argentina, and it's not always pretty. So that's a fascinating one if that happens. If it's France and England, duh. Like all the storylines. And here's the thing that I think, and I get it. I understand. The United States were very Eurocentric. I totally understand that. But don't look at France England as this crazier thing than France or than England Argentina just because France England and there's a shared language with England. It's all of these games have a lot of different drama to it. So if it's France England, we've seen that in World Cups before. We've seen that in tournaments before. We saw that at the last World Cup in the knockout round. If it's Spain England, that's a rematch of the Euro final. That just happened a couple of years ago. So, the Spain-France game, that's a rematch of the semifinal from the Euros. That's a rematch of the Nations League from last year that was one of the craziest games that we've ever seen that finished 5-4. So, all of these games have a million different storylines. There are stars everywhere. There are just so many things to grab onto. So, for a tournament that has been the best World Cup ever up to this point, it is setting up for a massive crescendo, and we'll see what direction it goes.
You ain't kidding. It's been a blast to get to this point, and it just ramps up from here. The number of teams is smaller, but it ramps up as we get closer and closer to the last match here in the tournament. Go get your mate. And obviously this week, tomorrow is going to be Abe Gordon. It's going to be Bart Keeler. Tyler Terrens is going to join us at 10:30 as well after his tour at FOX. So we'll get his thoughts. And then, I was thinking we were going to be on early on Wednesday just so we can get inside the perimeter for that one.
Yeah, we'll be in the downtown area early on Wednesday, and we don't know who's where or anything yet. Because I would imagine that England will be potentially south downtown, but Argentina did stuff with the underground last time, so I don't know if they go back there, if they try to separate them. I don't know what that'll look like, but there will be plenty of people from both nations everywhere in Atlanta leading up to that game, going to Fan Fest, all of it. So what I would tell you, if you are a neutral, if you're not attached to either one, if you're excited about the game, enjoy it, go, be pumped, enjoy the whole spectacle, keep your head on a swivel as well, because you are going to be in an environment that you're not used to. Don't go in naive about it. Make sure you know what's going on around you, and make sure you know when things start to bubble up, depending on how the game goes, depending on how much alcohol people have had. There's a lot of different elements to it. So enjoy it, but this is going to be a whole different environment, a whole different atmosphere than we typically see and we've seen in this tournament. So be ready for that and go in understanding that.
Yep, and we will do our best to reiterate that all week long. As always, my friend, great to see you, and great to see you virtually. And I know that we're going to be breaking bread and catching up in person here pretty soon. So catch up with you soon. You know you can crash anytime in between all the other 98,000 things that you have going on this week.
Yep. Adios.
All right, be good. There goes Jason. And Jason is now at the door. He's going to get his mate and get everything prepped. If you are not a subscriber to Morning Espresso presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, once again, go to soccerdownhere.net and you go into the read section. There's a box. It's our morning newsletter. It's Jason's newspaper to the sport. And it is right there. Hit your email address in there. And then that way you can be a part of our daily information sessions, however we are doing them. And so it's very, very cool to give that to you every single day. And we will effort to do our best all week long, because it's going to be a short runway, but there's going to be a lot going on. So we'll catch up with everybody every single day. And we know that the hours are going to be long, but it's definitely going to be worth it. So that's the rundown with that. We still have a couple of leagues that we haven't touched yet, and it includes MLS NEXT Pro with Atlanta United 2 and post-game. So, we're going long this morning. You have NWSL last night, and from what went down in NWSL, Lacey Santos, Trinity Rodman, 2-0 win for Spirit over Courage, their third straight win, 6th clean sheet of the year with Sandy MacGyver. Santos gets a cross in the 37th. Rodman gets the lead first half stoppage time from Tara Rudd, and video review wipes off a goal from Ashley Sanchez. Courage 4-match win streak ends at home in Cary. Angel City gets a win in the SoCal Classico with San Diego Wave 2-0 at the Murph Dragon. Mayara Niehaus scores for her 4th straight match. Luisa Agudelo couldn't get the loose ball in. Ari Borges gets a second off a long throw from Svendis Jonsdottir. San Diego shutout streak, which had stretched to 242, ends in the process. And it was almost 2-1, but a Leah Godfrey late penalty hit the post. MLS DC adding some attacking punch, getting Nathan Ordaz from LAFC. Homegrown had 9+4 the last 2 seasons in north of 2,100 minutes. Orlando City is reportedly pushing to bring in Girona left back Alex Moreno. Nothing close to final. 33-year-old spent time in the Premier League with Villa and Forest, also drawing interest from Real Betis and Rayo Vallecano. Remember, tonight, Atlanta Soccer Tonight with Jason, 9 to 11, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, and then a YouTube channel. In addition, the three-dimensional experience continues there as well. He's going to go over the World Cup, biggest week of the summer coming up, and reminders across the board. So that was your NWSL update. NPSL has playoffs that were going on yesterday and today. To give you the rundown of what happened yesterday and what to anticipate from what we saw on yesterday and on Wednesday leading into the midweek. So once again, Duluth FC over Siouxland United in the North Conference Final. So we'll try and catch up with our friend John Schuster, find out what's going on there. Great Lakes Final goes to Ambassadors FC Ohio, 2-1 over Flower City Union. Ristosi in the Mid-Atlantic Conference Final over Virginia Dream, 2-1. Bristol Rhythm, no problem with 865 Alliance, 4-1 the final there. Keystone, Westchester United over FC Motown by the final of 2-1. Today at 2, Central State's final, Michigan Rangers and FC Pride at Davenport University. Today at 6:30, New Haven United and ASC New York. That one is at the University of New Haven. Golden Gate Conference Final is at Kezar. That one is tonight, and it is at 8:30. El Fadelito is hosting Sun City FC. National Quarters. Bristol Rhythm is going to be taking on Ristosi. That one is next Saturday at 8 o'clock. Same for Ambassadors FC Ohio. They are waiting for their opponent. Westchester United waiting for theirs. And then you have the other matchups out west. So we do know, once again, who is advanced and who is going to be working their way forward. So Duluth United, Ambassadors FC, Ristosi, Bristol Rhythm, Westchester. Now we're waiting on Michigan and FC Pride, New Haven and ASC New York, El Fadelito, and Sun City. So we know 4 of them. We're waiting on the other 4, and we know that Bristol Rhythm is taking on Ristosi, and that one is going to be in the national quarterfinals next week. So we'll keep an eye on that over the next couple of weeks. National semis on the 25th, and the championship is August 1st. So that's your NPSL update. And in the UPSL, with what we're looking at in the Premier Division, it is with that bracket. Let me see if I can find the bracket really quickly here before we get into MLS Next Pro. Playoffs, you hit to the premier.upsl.com sign, and it's taking forever to load it. So Detroit City, 3-2 winners over FCY New York. They advanced to the national quarterfinals. They're waiting for the winner of NY Renegades and Bridge Sports Club. That one is today. SCU Heat shut out Tennessee Tempo 4-0, so they advance, and they're going to be playing in 13 days, the winner of PCU Pelicans and Miami United. That is the right-hand side of the bracket in the quarters. Left-hand side of the bracket in the quarters next weekend, it is going to be Deportivo Rose City taking on Valley 559. Then it is going to be ASC Antelope Valley taking on Next Level Soccer. They are going to be upper left in your bracket. Central Kansas United knocked off Arkansas Wolves. So they knocked off Arkansas Wolves, and then yesterday beat Worthington Community 1-0. So they advance, and they're going to wait 2 weeks before they find out if they're going to play West Texas Rush or Balboa FC. So that is right now we know 3 teams that are going to be in the quarterfinals in the UPSL. Some of the other matchups are going to be determined today. Some are going to be determined next week. So they're kind of staggered, and the national finals are going to be August 7th through the 9th in the UPSL. David, after we wind this down, can we have a full set of Atlanta soccer media folks talking about the city experience? I mean, it's going to be all over the place. I don't know if we're all going to have the same kind of schedules to get a roundtable going, but I know that we're going to talk about it, and we're going to do massive recaps. And by the way, Cobbled Mason 9WO blah, blah, blah is now blocked. And also, they're going to be botted. And so, yes, they are a bot. Kind of suspected of being a bot. Yes, it is. Viewer solicitation bot. And we send that note to our friends at Twitch, and we move forward. So there you go. All right. Last thing on the board, MLS Next Pro, Atlanta United 2. Before we get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, we know what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it for today. It is MLS Next Pro last night, Atlanta United 2 and Inter Miami CF 2. Inter Miami CF 2 still looking for their first win of the season. They're at the bottom of the standings in the Eastern Conference coming in. And it took a little bit of time, but Atlanta United 2 would get the Duke, and we'll let you know where things are in the standings with Atlanta United 2 looking and going forward. It is a lot of highlights, and then we got a lot of posts to get into. So here's your highlights from us in the win over Inter Miami CF2. Who gives to Cisse. Nicely done between the defenders. Looking edge of the 6, tried to go back heel and into the net. Back post, unmarked. Daniel Chica, 1-0 Atlanta United 2 in the 20th minute. Chica's third of the season, and in trying to keep an eye on Arif Kovac, that meant that someone was unmarked at the far post, and that was Daniel Chica. So Chica with the goal here, late 20th minute, and it's 1-0 Atlanta United 2. So DePaula out, Vorenkamp out after 45, Sean Gormley in, Jeremy Ortela in, Dovolo, push, shot, goal. Dovolo sets up Ignacio Suarez-Corey in the 51st minute. Transition opportunity there for Atlanta United 2. Nice work by Enzo Dovolo to find Ignacio Suarez-Corey, and it's 2-0. And so 2-0 Atlanta United 2 over Inter Miami CF2. Outside of the boot, nicely done. Hardinas gets past the defense, pushed at from behind, cut back, own goal. Hardinas tried to get the ball to Arif Kovac, and so the centering pass was almost a kind of a cutback because of the really tight angle, so it was along a straight line, but the centering pass, we'll call it that, from Hardinas, found Tyler Hall, and so Tyler Hall called for the OG, and it's now 3-0, just like that. Pressure coming from Atlanta United 2 creates space for the Five Stripes, and you end up with goal number 3. And so another switch for Coach Flores. Acevedo's day is done after 60. Nick gets the ball, and it wasn't enough on it, and Kovac with the easy slam dunk. Trying to combine at the back was Nick and Matias Marin. Pass didn't have enough on it. Ball eventually ends up centering pass to Arif Kovac, and it's now 4. And that would be the 4 goals for Atlanta United 2. Before a goal was given up, the shutout given up in the 75th minute on a shot from distance by Alejandro Flores. 4-1 your final. Atlanta United 2 with the win. So let's take the tour and start your post-game comments. Let's see who comes up first. It's Arif Kovac after his action last night in Athens.
Things keep on rolling out there. This one going in, knowing that you're going up against the team that's last in the conference table, you can't take it for granted. So let's talk about it 45 minutes at a time. A lot of chances in the first 45. You get the 1 goal. What was the talk like?
When you play teams like this, you can't underestimate them. No matter like what position they are, where they're at the table. I had my chances, but it just wasn't falling, and I was frustrated because I want to score, I want to contribute. But yeah, I just told myself to stay positive, and second half it'll come, and it came. I got an assist as well, and got me in the match, and yeah, I'm happy.
What's it like to see everyone, because you and Enzo in the second 45, that rhythm that was there with him on the right-hand side? What was it like to see everything kind of come together the way that you guys like for it to be?
Yeah, well, I love playing with Enzo. I think he's a great player. When you have a great player come bring energy into the game, it just helps. And when he does the hard work and sets me up for a tap-in, you have to appreciate these things.
What have you guys learned about yourself as a group? All those games on the road early on, and now because of that, you get to stockpile everything late. What'd you learn about yourself for road matches to get you ready for the stretch?
We learned that we have to be better in the first 10, 15. We can't come up slow and just not ready to play. And we learned that, just to start the game hard, start the game good, and from minute 1 to show that we're here to play.
What else do you think as a group we need to improve on here in the stretch?
I think just mentally, we just sometimes switch off in games like you see at the end. We concede. Some things like that, just if we can be locked in for 90 minutes, I don't see a team better than us.
And that was Arif Kovac after getting goal number 13 on the season. And speaking of Enzo Dovolo, since he mentioned Enzo Dovolo by name, so we will go to him next when it comes to the post-match interviews and comments that we got. So we will now let you hear what Enzo Dovolo had to say after the match. And I think it was the first time that we got to catch up with Enzo this season. So Enzo Dovolo after the win against Inter Miami CF2 last night.
2 assists in 45. What did you think tonight?
Oh, I think it was a good game. It was more open during the second half, and when I'm coming on the field, I have a lot of space behind, so I just try to make the run, and hopefully I make 2 assists today.
You were causing a lot of problems at the right-hand side. You and we seem to be in a real rhythm. What's it like to be in a rhythm like that with somebody?
Yeah, I think I like playing with Arif because we have a good connection, and he's a type of player like he can keep the ball, and me I make the run, and he can give me the ball. So today was the goal of today. We talked with the coach, and the coach said we have a lot of space behind, so we just enjoy ourselves.
When you get to take advantage of this, how complete, in your mind, how complete a performance was this? Having some first gamers in the first 45, you guys coming in the second 45, how complete a performance was it?
Sorry, say
how complete a performance was it? How I'm not going to say how easy was it, but everyone doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Was it the way it was looking out there for you guys?
Yeah. I think we know, like before the game, a lot of players for the first team, they come help us and they do a great job. And after when we come in, we just try to keep the score and we scored more goals, and every day everyone played good. That was good.
Where do you think your game is right now when it comes to stuff you need to work on? Where do you think you are right now?
I think maybe we need to work on the control of the ball. Sometimes we lose the ball too easily. We won't score. Maybe we want too much score, and sometimes we have to just keep the ball, make a turn, be more patient. I think we have to work on that. But after that, all was good. Yeah.
What about you specifically? How is your game coming along?
I think my game was pretty good, but I can improve in my final decision. Maybe today I can score one goal, but fortunately I didn't. But that will be for the next game, hopefully.
Hopefully for the next game, that's Enzo Dovala, midfielder for Atlanta United 2. And so Ignacio Suarez-Corey, he got his first goal of the season, and that was also in the matchup. So here's catching up with Ignacio Suarez-Corey after the match in the 4-1 win. Maybe if I hit font and then actually hit the actual interview, then maybe we could hear it. Here we go.
How does it feel to get that first one?
I felt great. Had a couple assists this season, and the first goal is always like a good feeling, good sensation. But even better, the team performance today. That's what we're all super glad and happy about. We continue to build on it.
What's it like to see your game continue and be more comfortable with who you're becoming so far this season? What's it like?
I'm just keep working hard every day. Like I just take it day by day, practice by practice. I just do the best action I can every single time, and hopefully, I keep getting better. I keep adapting to the level and hopefully excelling.
Is that the biggest thing you think you need to work on? Is just getting used to the level and the speed of play, or are there other things inside your game you think you need to work on?
Well, I feel like I'm still so young. Like I can improve on every single aspect of my game, mentally, physically, on the ball, off the ball. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep working, trying to keep improving every day. So hopefully to break into the first team.
Break down the goal for me and what you were seeing as the play was developing.
So I see my Enzo on the wall, right? And I scan, and I just know that I'm kind of free. So the ball comes to me, I take a good touch, I kill it, and then I see the defender right in front of me. So I was like, all right, if I wrap this, there's no way. And so I just played it front post and so the ball go back in the net.
And the crowd gave you a good pop after knowing that it was your first one of the year. You got a good pop from the crowd.
Yeah. Super exciting. I blew a kiss to my family.
So what's it like having them here to see?
I always thank them for the support, their effort they make for me, for letting me do what I love to do. And yeah, I just had to dedicate that first goal to them.
Ignacio Suarez-Corey getting the goal on the board for Atlanta United 2, his first of this season, to go with all of the other handiwork that he's had so far this year. And so goal on the board for Ignacio Suarez-Corey. It was 4-0 until about 15 minutes to go. And then you end up with a goal scored by Inter Miami CF2, once again, Alejandro Flores, from just outside the 18, if memory serves. And then that made it 4-1. That was your final. And we'll get into MLS NEXT Pro. We'll get into the standings here in just a little bit and let you know how things are laid out for Atlanta United 2 with the win. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to catch up with Jose Silva, the head coach of Atlanta United 2, and find out what his thoughts were on the match. And so here's our post-game conversation that we had after the win in Athens. Once again, here's Jose Silva, head coach of Atlanta United 2.
How complete a performance was this tonight?
I think it was really good from minute 1 till minute 75. When we are human now. At right moment you are going to relax, and we think that in the last 15 minutes we were a little bit shaky. But it was overall a good performance against a team that always present a complex game because they rotate position a lot. So it's complex how to defend, and more for us than it's a team that like to press high and like to go man to man. So we have to trickle down a couple of things, and I think it worked.
They almost want to have you overthink. They want chaos. They want to try to, it's like, all right, so he's over here. No, he's over here. What position is he? How difficult is that when you're going up against somebody whose game plan is to create as much chaos and not be organized at all, at least?
really complex and more for our identity. And when we go to opponent half, we are a team that want to put intensity on the field. So we try to man marking the opponent in a way when we are close to their box, and that overcomplicate us because with that rotation they make us move our players. So today we have to trickle down a little bit and be more zonal in some areas of the field when we are pressing high. And I think we did good because still minute 75 is not when they started to have more opportunity.
A couple of different things that I noticed. Obviously, you have a playmaker like Adrian. To have someone like that who has that vision and imagination, what's it like to have somebody like that?
I mean, Adrian is a key player for us. He adds a lot to the team because you know, also with the ball, it's also how he moves without the ball. He is a player that always is in the correct space, and without touching the ball, he's creating passing angles or a space for other one. And without the ball, it doesn't look like, but he covers a lot of ground, and he normally is in the top 5 of tackles, interceptations, and numbers of defending action for our team per game.
What's it like to have all the players contributing and getting these defensive numbers and contributions and things like that, where it's not just you're looking at one-sided players, you have players that are doing things both offensively and defensively?
I think is for us, we are really proud of them because it's the identity and we want as a team. I think I want to be a presser, and after that, they start with the build, and everyone is buying into that idea, and the players that they are in the field, you can see it with the stats that they are getting in the defensive aspect, and they are buying into the idea that we want.
And those getting more minutes, you have 11 against Toronto, you got 20 this time. What's it like to see Santiago getting minutes and being out there, not being
who? Sorry.
Santiago. No, it's Santiago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah. We call it Noise. I was thinking Santi. Noe, he has a bright future because one thing that he has is even in the bad day, because we are human, no? There are days that maybe you're not going to have that day that you expect with the ball. He's going to give you that effort, that pressing angles, that willing to put the intensity on the game. So we are really happy with him, and little by little he will be buying into or improving a little bit in things he has to do with the ball.
Obviously, you get the highlights with Arif getting another goal. He's now like 74 this season. He's getting numbers. You end up with Enzo getting a couple of assists. It seemed like one of those performances where you couldn't take the guy you can't take the last team in the Eastern Conference for granted. You didn't.
No, and you never know with Inter because they always present the standing doesn't reflect the quality and the team that they are. They can complicate games like in the way that they play. And I think today we were really solid, and we have players like you say, like Arif, that is in flow status, I call him. Everything that he does go inside the net, and we are really happy for him because he defined himself. The way that he works, the way that he treats of himself is like a role model for other players. And with Enzo, he's a player that he has been up and down, has been from the bench, has been started, and the reality is all the time that he's stepping the field, he's giving everything that he has, and he's adding in the offensive side, he's adding a lot to the team because he's really direct, he's good in 1v1, so it's always like made difficult for the opponent how to defend us when we're in opponent half.
You mentioned flow stat. I mean, there are times where it does look like he's floating out there, and it's like everything's going the right way. He's still frustrated at himself if everything doesn't go in there. What's it like to see someone who's in that flow state?
I mean, it's amazing because that means that all the staff is doing a good job with the players. I know we do a lot of IDP. Will Bates, and he was a striker. He scored a lot of goals in college. He helped a lot of Arif with some details, and the striker has to be in a situation where he can score more goals, so he can assist. Right now, the only thing we can do is support him and continue believing in him because I think he's going to continue like that during the season.
There you go. That is your rundown of everything from last night with Atlanta United 2 and the 4-1 win over Inter Miami CF. To let you know where things are, this is the beginning of the big weekend. Traditionally, the larger day is Sunday in MLS NEXT Pro. Atlanta United 2 actually was one of 3 matches that started the weekend, match week 19. So right now, in the Eastern Conference with the win. Atlanta United 2 is in 6th, but they are a win out of 3rd. They have as many wins as 2 other teams in the Eastern Conference right now. 9 wins for them, 9 wins for Red Bulls, 9 wins for Crew 2. They are 1 win out of 3rd, 4 points from the top, and they have played 17 matches. Of course, this goes into the action today. Crew 2 is at 34. They have 1 more win than Crown Legacy. Red Bulls are at 32. Chattanooga's at 31. They have a better goal difference than Revs 2. Atlanta United 2 has more wins than Orlando City B. NYCFC 2 is at 28 points. That would be your playoff line if the season ended today. Philadelphia Union 2 is at 17 matches and 24, 2 more wins than Fire 2. Connecticut United is at 22 points, better goal difference than Toronto FC. Huntsville City Football Club is at 21 points. Core is at 17. FC Cincinnati 2 is at 14, and Inter Miami CF2 at 0-12-4-1 is at 5 points this year. They've scored 14 goals, and they've given up 41. That is not the worst defense in the league, but is the worst in the Eastern Conference. And that is the least effective offense and the most porous defense in the Eastern Conference. 0-8-2 now on the road for Coach Vargas and Inter Miami CF2. Western Conference, Austin FC 2, Los Verdos. They are at 40 points, 3 points ahead of Houston Dynamo 2. Dynamo Dos has 1 less win after their hot start, being unbeaten in the first 2 months, and now Austin FC 2 has returned the favor. 2 of the top defenses in MLS Next Pro, without a doubt. Timbers 2 at 34 points. They are in 3rd. They have played 2 more matches, however, than Austin FC 2 and Dynamo Dos. Ventura County starts the chase group at 29 points. Ventura County, LAFC 2, and St. Louis City 2 all have 7 wins. Better goal difference goes to Ventura County. Better goal difference goes to LAFC 2. That's 4, 5, and 6. Earthquakes 2 are at 28 points in 7th. Loons 2 are in 8th. They have 1 more win than Real Monarchs, who got the win last night. Jarrett Smith was there. Follow him on his social medias at Jarrett_Smith to get your latest when it comes to the Royals, Real Salt Lake, and the Monarchs. 10th right now, North Texas at 22 points, matches in hand. Tacoma Defiance is at 21 points. Whitecaps 2 have played 19 matches, and they have 17 points. Sporting Kansas City 2 is at 13 points in 13th. Rapids 2, 12 points in 14th at 2-11-5-1. The worst defense in MLS Next Pro belongs to Sporting Kansas City 2, especially after what happened earlier in the season with their losses. They've already given up 50 goals this year in MLS Next Pro. Next up for Atlanta United 2 is a trip to Huntsville City Football Club, and that will be next Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. And that will be at Wicks Family Field, Joe Davis Stadium in Huntsville. And that will be on One Football, MLSsoccer.com, and the Major League Soccer YouTube channel, among other places. We'll keep you posted on our broadcast plans as we go later on in the week. So that's MLS Next Pro. Now, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it before we get out of here. And that what to watch is brought to us by our friends at Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. Today, once again, you can get all the things. You get Fanatis, you get all the streaming services, access to South American A and B divisions that you might not have had before. You end up with CDO Plus out of Chile, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You end up with TVV out of Venezuela, unless you already have a subscription to a particular cable service. And if you have the Spanish package there, then you probably already have it. You can get ties to Tigo Sports, ties to CATV. You get Libertadores, Sudamericana. TIC out of Argentina gets you Copa de Argentina, the Copa Argentina, plus their coverage of Argentina in the World Cup. BN, you get all the BNs, which means you get their European football in Turkey, in Poland, and in France. You get Libertadores, Sudamericana, everything Middle East and North Africa. You get AFCON, WAFCON. You get CAF Champions League, and you get all of their the World Cup qualifying and Olympic qualifying tournaments, all at one place, Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Fox Soccer Plus has your doubleheader on the second legs of the Can Champ with Forge and Saint Laurent at 4 and CF Montreal Vancouver FC. That's at 7:30. Tonight on the 4-letter, Rain and Thorns at 4 o'clock, simulcast by Deportes and ESPN Plus. Victory Plus at 7 gives you Denver Summit Houston Dash. That one is at 7 o'clock. And then that leads us into Monday, which is a Can Champ Monday, one match on FS2 and Fox ONE. Cavalry and the Whitecaps at 9:30. That takes care of your Monday, and that gets you ready to roll into what's going on in the beautiful game. Now, let's get you into the activity with gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get out of here. Checking to see if there's anything else that we might have missed news-wise. I think we're okay. Now, the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, transfer talk, a couple hours old. Trending rumors looks like Manchester United have ended their €40 million pursuit of Atalanta midfielder Ederson, turning their attention to Wolves' João Gomes, according to Globo. Liverpool have also made contact regarding the Brazil international, whose proposed move to Atletico de Madrid has stalled. Wolves understood to value Gomes' transfer at around €60 million. Both Premier League clubs now monitoring the situation. Chelsea made fresh contact with the reps of Bologna winger Jonathan Rowe as they step up their search for attacking reinforcements, as per the Il Resto del Carlino, the newspaper in Bologna. No formal offer submitted yet. Bologna keen to retain him, but the England U21, one of several wide players under consideration, alongside West Ham's Crescencio Somerville and Sporting's Francisco Trincao. PSG looking to bring in Ferran Torres from Barcelona if Bradley Barcola departs, according to L'Equipe. PSG have been linked with a €130 move to land Leipzig winger Jan Diomande. Ferran Torres would be a considerably cheaper option, open to leaving Camp Nou after the arrival of Anthony Gordon. Barcola could join Arsenal or Liverpool as he's looking to get more game time. Everton interested in signing Newcastle winger Jacob Murphy, according to TalkSport. 31-year-old's entered the final year of his deal at St. James, could be allowed to leave as Newcastle reshape their squad. One of several attacking options being considered by Everton boss David Moyes. No formal approach yet made. Genk midfielder Konstantinos Karetsis back on Dortmund's radar, according to Sky Germany. The Belgian club seeking a fee in the region of €35 million to part ways with their 18-year-old, which remains a stumbling block for BVB. However, Dortmund's new sporting director, Ole Buch, is determined to sign him, who had 11 assists in 34 league matches last time around. Chelsea are demanding €50 million for Alejandro Garnacho after he did not report back to the club for preseason training. Sources have told the four-letter both player and club are prioritizing a permanent exit, working through options rather than beginning training under Xabi Alonso. And Gotham is bringing back Denise O'Sullivan on loan with an obligation to transfer from Liverpool for €350,000. Same fee Liverpool paid Courage in January to sign her. So Denise O'Sullivan lasting 6 months, and now she's heading to Gotham. Jeremy Manga in the door at Manchester City from Leicester, £12.5 million. Other rumors, Ekrem Konur, busy as always. Chelsea and Brighton both keeping tabs on Atalanta defender Honest Ahonor, transfer value around €60 million. Corriere dello Sport, agent of Roma forward Matthias Sula, currently in England negotiating with Sunderland and Fulham over a €35 million move this summer. TalkSport, Hull set to make a bid for Sweden international Elliot Stroud. The Mjölby star has already turned down a move to Genoa. Fabrizio Romano, Ajax have opened talks to sign Brazil forward Marcus Leonardo from Al Hilal, and a deal's underway to bring Trincao to Al Ahly. Team talk, West Ham and Coventry among several English clubs monitoring Bodo Glimt midfielder Patrick Berg. Fulham have agreed to a deal to sign Celtic youngster Erskine Rennie, the Scottish club getting around £100,000 in compensation. That's from Sky. Hull Daily Mail saying Oscar Zambrano set to return to Hull City. The Premier League side struck an agreement with Maribor over his permanent transfer. Florian Plettenberg, former Germany international Robin Gosens, open to joining Schalke, but a deal remains difficult to complete. Nikola Shira, host of Premier League clubs in the race to sign Sassuolo defender Tarik Muharremovic, including Leeds, Sunderland, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. Whew. Okay, checking the papers. Then we'll let you get on your way for the day. And trying to see if there's anything outside of the World Cup that we did not talk about this morning and beyond. According to The Guardian, Manchester United is insisting the new stadium is not a vanity project, despite the prospect of more debt. And the stadium is going to be 350 meters from Old Trafford itself. Jamie Jackson at The Guardian, the working cost of the stadium is previously stated at £2 billion. Proposed new 100,000 seat capacity stadium may lead to further debt being loaded on the club. Plans were unveiled Thursday, 350 meters northwest of where the current Old Trafford is. Club are about 1.3 billion in debt pounds. And in March of 25, Omar Barada, United's chief exec, said 2 billion pounds was the working cost of the stadium. Colette Roche, chief exec of the stadium project, said of whether the cost would change, quote, that is the $2 billion question. We can look at what other stadiums cost. We're going to be building a very different stadium, bigger than any other, 100,000 seats. So there is not a price I can go to. We've still got all funding options available. We can have debt, equity, shares, other investors. We've had a lot of approaches, people saying, can I be a part of this? This needs to be a sanity project, not a vanity project. You've seen from the way we now run the club, having control of our costs is really important. You've seen where we are financially, which we are improving. It'll be on us to deliver the time and the budget. And she also admits that she says, I know things can go out of control. People said that with me on Carrington, meaning the training ground. You're never going to do it in that time for that price, 50 million pounds. We did because we were disciplined. Part of the cost may be sourced via branding rights. So keep an eye out on that. So sizable constituency of supporters concerned regarding more debt being loaded onto the club. And that was addressed as well. Proposed design of the stadium said it was compared to a circus tent. And Roach said the state stated that the design could be changed. Roach reiterated the aim to have the new stadium open by 2035. So that is the latest there. So Times, let's see what the Times has to say this morning. Yeah, Denise O'Sullivan's story broke yesterday, and heading to Gotham. So the rich end up adding more along the way. So I think we might be in decent shape. I think we're getting to be in decent shape here. So I will check one more source. No Atlanta United other than the Abby's asking about Atlanta United transfer rumors. None outside of the ones that we have seen. But let me check and see if we've missed any involving center backs and such. So transfers and rumors. I'm going to our friends at Transfermarkt, and I'm breaking the fourth wall to let you know. This is where traditionally I go to get things all squared away. So transfers by league, transfer rumors, the current rumors. I guess we can go here. So navigating current rumors. Let's see. Can we go by league? Can I get that? Competition. Come on. So we go country. We go United States. See, this is the thing. It's like I just want frickin' rumors. That's all I want. Especially with so come on, give it to me. Come on. No, not United Arab Emirates. That's silly. Of course, it's a bad gateway because it doesn't exist. So, country, United States. Come on, give it to me. Come on. Let me. United States. Major League Soccer. Just in general, I don't want. All right, so let's go here, and I don't want players or anything like that. I don't care about players. No. See, and this is the bad side to Transfermarkt. So fine, let me do it this way. Since you don't want to cooperate with me in the pull down, so when it behaves, I go to Transfermarkt and it lets me know everything. But it's not behaving this morning. So, okay. So we go here. Let's see if there is anything on the board. Okay. So the three on the board right now, Paulo Diaz, and there was one back in May involving Luis Araujo back in May. But then late June, you had Paulo Diaz, who is currently at River Plate, and that one's on the board. And then 2 days later, you had Koke 34-year-old central midfielder, currently at Atletico de Madrid. His contract expires at the end of the next fiscal year. So you have Paulo Diaz's contract, who ends at the end of the calendar year in 27. Koke from Atletico de Madrid, who is rumored was rumored back in June 26th of this year. So the most recent, according to Transfermarkt, Paulo Diaz from River Plate, and a 31-year-old center back at market value of €2 million, and then Koke, a central midfielder, 34 years old, from Atletico de Madrid, listed at $5 million. So those were your Transfermarkt Atlanta United rumors that came across the board late in June. Like I said, there was a rumor about Luis Araujo coming back and from Flamengo, and that was back in mid-May, but nothing has cycled around since then. So then if you go to other places, Junior Alonso is being linked at points from Atletico Mineiro, and so I think that's it for the moment. So it was you had those three, I think, that are on the board. So keep an eye on things and let you know when we know something. But those are the three that I can find quickly. Two of them being off of Transfermarkt and the other from that bastion of journalistic integrity, Reddit. So that's the rundown here. So that's going to do it for Sunday AM. And thanks for dropping by. 2.5 hours, because we had a lot to talk about. A lot of different leagues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 leagues and an international competition. And thanks to Nino and thanks to Jason for dropping by to get their wisdom about the whole thing. So today, catch your breath. Enjoy. And it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a serious week. It's going to get ramped up pretty quickly. But just enjoy the experience, folks. It's going to be fantastic. Dallas and Jerry World on Tuesday. Spain and France getting ready for that one. And then Argentina and England. It's the heart and the head, or the head and the heart. The head is Tuesday. The heart is Wednesday. Argentina and England here in Atlanta on Wednesday. And we will have it all covered for you all week long. Like I said, tomorrow it's going to be Abe Gordon, Bart Keeler, and Tyler Terrens, who had the early stages on Big FOX. We're going to get his thoughts on the tournament. Tuesday should be the return of KCD, and we're going to be efforting some other folks. We do have a guest late in the show having to do with economics and dealing with education. And so we'll have that one for you at 10:30 on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be early. Might be 8 to 9:30. That's my guess, just to get in the building, because Lord knows how long it's going to take. And we'll be there all the time and getting into the building and let you know what's going on. And we'll have all the reports for you as best we can. And this is under the assumption we don't know what credentialed access is going to be yet. But Wednesday will be game coverage if we're allowed in the building. I'm going to be there early, so do not be surprised if the Wednesday morning show is earlier than normal and ends like 8 to 9:30 is my guess. And then if we're credentialed in the right places, we'll go into the building. Then on Thursday, we'll have all your recaps. We'll have the Power Hour with Nino and Nico, and then get you set up for the third place game and for the title game. Friday, it's going to be we're efforting some of our friends as well as our friends from Apple TV. So that's the rundown for the week. Fairly similar. Wednesday, since it's match day here in Atlanta, is going to be early and ending early. So that's probably the biggest bolo. But keep an eye out tonight, Atlanta Soccer Tonight, 9 to 11. Jason will be on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app and 92.9 The Game YouTube channel for all the things. Abby, have a super Sunday. Pass it along to everybody else. Enjoy the day for what it is, because we've got one more week to sprint through. And then we got Atlanta United to talk about, because they're going to Nashville. So we're going to try and effort our friend Lucas Panzica to find out what's going on in Nashville as well. I'll have him on either Thursday or Friday, probably Friday. See if we can swing that. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. That's half a dozen leagues of world competition, 2 guests, and getting you ready for the rest of your day. Since it is the end of the show, Abby doesn't have to be at the stadium till 10. Wednesday tickets, $4,000 to start. Yeah, crazy. Some lower bowl stuff for the final, $42,000. The final at the Meadowlands. Just enjoy the experience for what it is, folks. It's going to be deep on a bunch of different levels. Since it is the end of the show, that means one thing. Mucha Plati, I'll play it safe. Means I get to do this. Back at it again tonight with AST and Jason. Then tomorrow morning, 9:05 Eastern, we start your sprint to the semis here at the SDH Network. Mucha Plati, I'll play it safe. We'll catch up with you tonight on AST, tomorrow morning here on SDH AM. Maybe if I hit the show close.